So I've remembered to, or rather, I forced myself. I did remember, but I've forced myself to do a second vlog. That's what it is. I don't like that word, but that's what it is. So I just need to get used to it and accept that this is what I'm doing now. I'm a vlogger. Uh, yeah. So last week's or this week's well, yeah, last week's investor pitch went really well. The probably I think it was the best pitch I've ever done, and now I'm speaking to them again this week, and then big pitch next week with the same group but more of their members and stuff. So um, yeah, I think I did it last week, but investment kind of it goes back and forth quite a lot. That's what it's all about is a lot of back and forth. So until you see money in your bank account, don't assume that it's going over too well until you see some concrete evidence that you got money in the bank. So anyway, that's pretty much been my week, is just kind of investment related stuff, whether that's pitching or documentation or whatever it might be. So that's been the focus. And then this week, similar thing, just kind of continuation of it. We've got some deadlines for grants and stuff, deadlines for some proposals for grants. So some kind of funding. So that's this week, and it's all kind of January just seems really busy for some reason when it comes to grants and stuff. So there's a lot of that. But I was gonna talk about pitching in lockdown. It's a strange thing as pitching in lockdown. It's like personally, I prefer being in a room with people and I can see their faces and I can I can talk to them. I can engage with them. And you can kind of read the room, can't you? You can read how they're reacting to what you're saying. You can kind of adjust slightly, and I feel like you can you can be a bit more conversational and build a better rapport. But doing it in lockdown, it's like over video. This is not. It's a very different experience, and trying to be engaging anyway is quite tough. And what doesn't help is when I'm pitching on Zoom, you've got it goes into one wee box, and then I think sometimes that box is just me, or it'll be one of the people I'm pitching to. So it's a bit distracting. It's not a lot of useful information on how people are reacting. And even then, like, they're probably just looking at like the screen sharing that you're doing out of your pitch, so they're probably not looking at you. Do you really know? So it's hard to tell. It's hard to kind of gauge what they're looking at or what they're thinking about or anything like that. So you just have to try and direct their attention. And the other thing is you can't do certain things over Zoom. You've got to consider that there could be some kind of lag. So the way you present has to be slightly different. You couldn't have any animations in your presentations. I mean, I would ward against animations in your presentations anyway, but kind of the timing element of it. So if you're doing a pitch that you want elements of it to be timed, can't be doing that really in a video pitch in case there's a lag or there's a difference in what they're seeing and what you're saying. So you need to just kind of pitch it in a kind of more standard way, which is okay. It's not terrible, but you can't do anything fancy really, basically. But that's not a massive issue. I've done quite a lot of pitches during lockdown, and I think I've got some kind of I think I've learned quite a bit from it. I think what I'll do is I'll maybe record some of like the behind the scenes of how I pitch in lockdown this week or next week, and then that might be quite useful to some people. There's some kind of I've picked up some techniques that I was trying to have a think about where's the best place to who does this normally, and the first thing that came to mind was radio. They're the kind of people that are having to use their voice a lot more and are not quite sure how people are engaging with them. They don't get a lot of feedback like while they're on the radio, so that's what I look to for kind of advice and techniques and stuff, and I think it works. I mean, right now I sound kind of tired, and because I am, but when you're pitching, you don't want to sound tired. You want to sound enthusiastic and passionate about what you do. So things like just presenting standing up instead of sitting down. So right now I'm sitting down, yeah, you're kind of tired, but when you stand up, you can, you know, you project your voice a bit more. You can be a bit more energetic, and so that can really help your really boost how you come across in a video. I say that as I do it poorly on a video, but when I'm pitching, I'm like a lot more focused and I know what I'm talking about. Or like, no, I don't. I know what I'm doing, but yeah, I'll show. I'll record some of that and kind of show. Maybe it's useful to some people. It's a technique that I find useful anyway. And the other thing is to think about is when you're pitching, what are people looking at? So, you know, what's your background like? So I try to keep this background kind of minimalist, so the focus is, you know, on the subject, on which is me. And when you're pitching, think about that as well. And also think about the screen could be small, you know, or if it's on Zoom, you know, you end up really small when your screen's large. So, you know, do they want you don't want them straining their eyes to kind of see what's happening behind you, kind of thing. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with having something there. So again, I'll show you a bit behind the scenes of what I do, and you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. So rather than just me babbling about the imaginary idea, I want to do more videoing of like during the week rather than just summing stuff up at the end. But there's so little happening because it's lockdown. This is life in lockdown. So yeah, I try to keep the schedule. Try to keep kind of going. So what I found last week, and I need to try and stick to this week, is exercising in the morning. So starting the day with a run or something, just even if it's just a quick 20 minutes, just really helps. It really helps kind of start the day and get you going, and I think that's really important. So I'm going to try and keep that up. I think that'd be my top tip, would be having a schedule and starting that schedule with exercise every day, even if it's just something small. So actually, is it exercise? Was it adrenaline? If you've got adrenaline, at least you wanting to do more, kind of thing. I don't know. I'm sure someone who knows what to talk about could tell you more about it. But when you exercise, you feel like you can do more. You feel more energetic. So despite spending more energy, so rather than feeling all lethargic. So well, that was my ramble for this week. I feel like I'm getting slightly more comfortable on camera, despite it only being the second video. So maybe that's a good step. But I'll probably come across really tired. I don't know if I haven't actually looked at the video from last week, so maybe I just kind of published it and hope for the best. But hopefully I'll come across better next week. I'll be trying to be a bit more energetic. Yeah, so that's that for this week. See you next week.